10-minute exercises in multiple sessions per day. Long-term goal of getting them to 30 minutes of continuous exercise. This is one to progress first, I think, because it's easy and it's something that they can do themselves. Exercise duration can be expressed as calorie expenditure. Lots of people have these watches now that can track all that kind of thing. Resting metabolic rate. Not too worried about you guys being able to do the math for all of this kind of thing. But know that if someone's heavier, they have to expend more. So if they expend 6 METs, weighing 91 kilograms for 45 to 60 minutes, this is what's going to get expended here. Again, this is just something trivia. They're not going to make you do this on board. Progression. Increase that duration we talked about. Maybe go to frequency then. Try to add an additional day or an additional session per day. Finally, progress the intensity. That's the most important aspect, but the one that you're probably going to adjust the at least, okay? Especially in the condition. Progression should be gradual. Anticipate setbacks. You're going to have that from time to time. Someone's not going to feel well. Someone's going to get dehydrated. What's going to happen to their blood pressure if they're dehydrated? Drop pretty significantly. Yeah. And again, use your data. You see your Borg scale, your vitals. Triangulate that stuff. Take all those factors to determine your progression. Okay? Increasing duration 5 to 10 minutes every 1 to 2 weeks over the first 4 weeks is reasonable for the average adult in this study. Another chart for you people that like those. The American College Sports Medicine Guidelines is a little manual. It's got a lot of good information in it. You're just starting out. If you're even thinking about this realm of PT, that's a must-have. How much exercise is typically spent in that target heart range? It depends completely on a million different factors. But you need to document that. Let's say this is an average session, 5-minute warm-up, less than 40% of the VO2 max. You may stretch for another 5 to 10. Conditions variable, like we talked about, maybe 5 minutes at each station. Maybe they go through twice, depends on what you've got. And then you're going to cool down and probably stretch again after that. All right, resistive training. Because we said we've got to have that as well as the aerobic stuff for this population. For those with congestive heart failure, that's pretty standard, typical patient that you're going to see. Start with low resistance. That goes without saying. Maybe just body weight, like TheraBand. What else can you think of that might be helpful? I saw a lady walking this morning. Probably there's a little heavy hand, 1 pound dumbbells, 2 pounds, something like that. You know, those things are good to start with. Keep the work phase short. What does that mean?
No fatigue, too quick.
So if you've got somebody and you're just starting resistive work with them, are you going to have them do squats for 2 minutes straight? No. You have them do squats for 30 seconds or 10 reps or something like this, and then give them 90 seconds, 2 minutes rest. Okay? Make the rest period longer than the work period. You know, and it's hard to do that in an outpatient setting. Have y'all experienced that yet? You got somebody who's really fatigued, but you want to do this and then you want to do that. You know, that's when you start working on different body parts. Okay? While their legs are fatigued, do something with their upper body or do something with their core. Okay? Give those chances, give them a break. Make them sit down, but talk to them. Make them do something cognitive. Okay? Keep them busy. Low reps, increase the number of sets. Doesn't have to be 3 sets of 10. If people can't do 10, there's only a couple ways you can go. Do less reps and more sets, or decrease the resistance so they can do 10. Make the task easier. That's what we want to see you guys manipulate. All right? And again, these following guidelines are just older adults. Older adults cannot do 150 minutes. They should be as physically active as their abilities and conditions allow. We had that statement earlier. They should do things to maintain or improve balance at their risk of falling. Give me some examples. I've given you the example of brushing their teeth on one foot. What else can you do in everyday life that can work on balance?
I mean, it's the same thing, they're washing their hands, they can do weight shifts.
Yep, that's a good one.
Reaching for us.
Yep. Especially because they've got something in front of them. They're not going to fall forward because, hey, they've got a sink there. Okay? That's a good one. What else you got? You just have to be careful with that. If I want them to close their eyes, I'm going to have their hand on something or standing next to a wall, but that's a good one. That's a good one.
You do like seated abdominal bracing and posture control.
You can do all kinds of things when they're sitting there. And that's a good rest period for their legs and everything else. What about like activities around the house or outside of the house?
I can do the balance side while I'm washing dishes and stuff in the kitchen.
So they're washing dishes doing what?
Balancing on one foot.
Balancing on one foot, okay.
Walking on like the grass compared to like gravel.
That's a good one. That's a really good one. And I try to encourage that because a lot of people, you know, they want to walk to get their mail or whatever. They may have inclines, they may have declines, they may have different surfaces. That's where a lot of falls come into play, all right? But you've got to train them to do that. And if you're say a home health PTA, take people outside, okay? Make them go up and down their stairs. Take them out to a work shed or something like that that's got a different level or a different surface altogether. That's where these people get in trouble, when the environment changes. So you've got to do that. It's just like we talked about working with these elite athletes. You've got to take them to what they tried to get to, right? It's the same thing for the older folks too. Something like this, a parking lot. You got curbs, you got gravel, you got sidewalk, you've got grass out here, all kinds of different things that you can do with them. Getting in and out of a car, okay? Getting in and out of bed can be exercise for a lot of these folks. All right? Chronic disease. Healthcare providers need to adapt to physical activity so appropriate for their condition. Let's say you've got somebody with COPD. Tell me some things that you have to consider there if you're taking them and doing these types of things we just talked about. What's that?
They can wear out quickly.
Really quickly. So you have to break things down. They may have oxygen, they may have supplemental oxygen. So you might not be able to take them outside on these different surfaces if they've got the little cart that they've got. Now maybe that's an incentive to get them something that slings over their shoulder. Y'all all seen the supplemental oxygen? It looks like a cooler, if you will. Goes over the shoulder. That might even be an insurance justification, but that's got to be an advocate on your behalf. These people aren't going to know that. They're not going to know that. What else you got to think about? COPD, man.
It drops quickly, so you gotta know like what triggers it to drop.
Okay.
As quick as it is.
You gonna take them out in weather like this? And if you do, better be short little bursts, okay? This weather is really, really tough on a lot of people. A lot of them, me included. Yard work yesterday. Oh God, it was awful. Really tough on a lot of population. All right. What else you got?
I was just curious. So, like, which one's the best for like?
Couldn't hear you. I'm sorry.
I was curious. Which one's the best for aerobic strengthening a COPD patient? More in the West where the humidity is more dry, like there's not as much humidity, or here where it challenges their body more?
Yeah. Now the West is, I mean, the low humidity is great for those folks. Yeah. A lot of them go out there to visit and say,
Love
I'm
it.
moving.
My dad, he has COPD, and he's like, I love it out there.
Yep. Totally different. You can do so much more. I mean, all right, this tries to bring it all together.